Welcome back. You're watching Urban Debate on Mirror Now. As per a study, air pollution led to the death of over 50,000 people in Delhi in 2020. It is an invisible killer. As per another report, air pollution contributes to about 13 premature deaths every single minute. Because it's invisible, hence it can target anyone. It doesn't care whether you're a child or an adult, a male or a female, young or old. Even if the air quality index, which is poor, which in fact qualifies to be better than severe category, it can cause some serious health problems. For example, as per government's data, in 2019, out of 365 days in a year, 183 days, more than 50%, had pollution level between poor to severe category. Simply means the air was just unbreathable. In 2020, the number improved slightly to 139. And in 2021, the situation wasn't too good either. Now, one problem is we probably don't see it as a problem. It seems that there is an out of sight, out of mind kind of an attitude when it comes to dealing with pollution. Maybe that's why each time we wake up with a blanket of smog, we have knee-jerk reactions. However, the Supreme Court today has asked the Central Air Quality Monitoring System to take suggestions from experts on long-term solutions to curb pollution crisis in Delhi and NCR. And Supreme Court has asked these experts to give those ideas. And that's exactly what we are going to do today on the show. We have an eminent panel joining us this evening to help us give some constructive ideas, to help give ideas to the government so that next year in December, we are not discussing the air pollution crisis. Joining us on the broadcast this evening is Anumita Roy Chaudhary, who is ED Research Advocacy and Head of the Air Pollution Program and Campaigns in CSE. We have Siddharth Singh, who is a consultant, International Energy Agency. We also have with us Professor Arun Srivastava, School of Environmental Sciences at Jawaharlal Nehru University. Good evening to all of you. Anumita Roy Chaudhary, I want to begin the discussion with you. At least I do not want to have the same discussion next year. Today, even the Supreme Court has said leading experts who know the field very well should give solutions, long-term solutions, so that this crisis is solved. What will you like to say today?
Absolutely. This is exactly the conversation that we need today, solutions. And not just knee-jerk emergency action, but about longer-term, more systemic and institutional solutions, legal solutions, and sector-wide solutions across the region. Now, but what I would really like to highlight is that, under the Supreme Court direction, way back in 2018, a comprehensive action plan was already notified under the Environment Protection Act for Delhi and NCR, essentially outlining longer-term solutions for vehicles, industry, power plant, construction, waste management. And yet, over the last few years, we have only heard about emergency action and no one has paid attention to what is the status of implementation of those longer-term solutions which are already codified and notified for this region. So I'm glad that this conversation has revived again. And this time, it is absolutely clear that we need to really have time-bound implementation strategy, look clearly that what has Delhi done, what the rest of NCR has done and beyond, and for each sector, vehicles, industry, power plant, and all of those, that what are the essential action that is needed to be implemented, not only by the state government, but also the central government. You cannot fix the vehicular pollution if the strategy for scaling up public transport, walking, cycling, and restraint measures are not rolled out immediately. You cannot control industrial pollution unless you ensure that a cleaner fuel like natural gas and be brought under GST and made cheaper than coal. You cannot fix open burning if the municipal services in each and every district and municipality of the NCR do not have the requisite infrastructure and service levels to collect and fully segregate and reutilize the waste and not allow waste to accumulate in the open for people to burn it. And therefore, so we know what the solutions are actually. But what is missing right now is the compliance strategy for for the solutions. So today you really need, if you recall that globally, what is not normally done is that all the concerned state governments at the national, state, and the city level across the region, they have required mandate. Along with that, you have funding. Now, it's strange that, there's so much money, 4,000 crore, that has been allocated under the recommendation of the 15th Finance Commission to the key ULBs to control air pollution. Only two cities in the NCR, that is Faridabad and Ghaziabad, who have qualified to get that money. For this sector. So clearly what we are seeing now that we have to understand and outline and clearly identify each and every action point, ensure that institutions have the mandate to enforce that. They have the right skills and the capacity in the institutions. They have the funding and the resources. And there has to be a regular report card on the progress and the strategy for implementation. That's where we have to move towards, and therefore I fully welcome this idea that the Supreme Court has said that we need to have more solution-oriented and not just reactive emergency response to deal with this health crisis.
Okay. Welcome back here with us on Urban Debate, and we are discussing the issue of air pollution. We had to slip into a break because of some technical glitch, but all is fixed now. Anamita, you were making that point about the need for a report card.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying this time, once we again define what needs to be done in each sector and each city and each district, there has to be a regular report card, a transparent mechanism of reporting progress, that what has been done, how much has been done, and more important, the work has to be done at the level of infrastructure, at the level of system creation, and the processes to be defined, and capacity creation in the implementing bodies and departments.
Professor Arun Srivastava, what are the kind of suggestions you will like to give to the center, the long-term solutions that can help ensure we are not discussing the pollution crisis again next year?
Well, I think in our previous this program, I've already said that this is not the problem of Delhi only. More or less, almost 12 major cities of North India comes under the top 20 highly polluted cities across the world. So now you can understand that if we start working upon Delhi only, then we'll not get much solution. So we'll have to have a holistic approach. I mean, center, everyone, either central government, state government, everyone has to work over it. Then only we can find a long-term solution. And as far as our previous speaker said, that yes, we do need to have a report card. If we make some kind of comparative analysis that what was done previous year, if we can learn from the problems, because this is the problem of every year. It seems that whatever work we are doing, it is not giving any effect. It is not making any change, because this smog problem or Delhi's severe air pollution problem was started way back in 2017. Now it is 4 years. So we are exactly at the same point where we were before 4 years in 2017. So it seems that nothing has been done significantly. More or less everywhere, the problem is getting more and more severe. If you see the air quality index, I think just 2 years back, the system of air quality index was started. If you will find that every year, if you have a cumulative effect over it, annual cumulative effect, you'll find that things are getting even worse and worse over the years. So it seems that nothing has been done. And yes, indeed, we'll have to have some kind of inventory so that we can understand that yes, we are actually being successful or not. Whatever steps we are taking, if we were being successful or not. If we are successful, then we can intensify that aspect, because we'll have to work over many on many aspects, be it vehicular pollution, which is, I mean, which contributes maximum, be it construction work, be it stubble, because presently these three things have maximum contribution. And if we focus over these issues, and if we start learning from the previous years, definitely we'll find some solution. And as I already said, that we'll have to have a holistic approach across North India. We shouldn't be confined up to
Right.
Delhi.
Okay, so the focus should not just be Delhi and NCR, need to focus on entire northern part of the country. Interesting point there. Siddharth Singh, innovative ideas that can be given from your side to the center, to the government here to deal with this pollution crisis, even if they are long term.
No, absolutely. I think firstly, just to say that our two previous speakers, our eminent speakers, have really covered the problem very comprehensively. So I think, for a structural change to be seen, you will have to look at all the sectors. In historically and globally, where air pollution has been a problem, such as London, China, Los Angeles, and other places, there have usually been one or two primary causes to the air pollution problem. But in India's case, in northern India's case in particular, there are a range of issues, including transport, industry, dust, and so on and so forth. So therefore, it's not possible for us to implement the same kind of strategies that had been done in other countries, and India needs a unique solution for its own set of problems. Now, without repeating the points that our previous speakers have said, I would like to focus on one or two small things. Firstly, I think, in our focus on ambient air pollution, we forget that about half the deaths caused due to air pollution comes from indoors. That is, households that are forced to use firewood for cooking. So especially women and children who tend to be at home during the times when food is cooked, they tend to suffer when firewood is used. So LPG and electric cooking are solutions to the problem. The problem is that the government has withdrawn the subsidies for LPG in recent months, which means that many households have transitioned back to the use of firewood, which leads to about 6 lakh deaths every single year after year, due to indoor air pollution alone. So that is something that really needs some focus. The other being, and it's a corollary of this problem, is unclean heating. So, especially in northern India and Punjab and so on, it's a very cold place. In these cold conditions, people are forced to burn whatever they find. It could be wood, it could be cardboard, it could be whatever else. I think we really need a strategy for provision of heating and accessible and affordable heating to the poor people. So this could, lead to innovative kind of products that are made by India's oil marketing companies that could, redirect some of the LPG towards heating, for example. So these are one or two things that we don't pay enough of attention on. And finally, the one last point I'd like to make is on urban transport. So, our focus tends to be on electric vehicles. Our focus tends to be on decarbonizing or using CNG for private vehicles. What we really need to focus on is non-motorized transport. So can we make cities more walkable? Can we make towns more cyclable? For people being able to use the streets on their own without the use of any form of individual or private transport will indeed lead to the kind of emission reductions we need to see from the transport side as well.
Okay, so of course, LPG and electric cooking is what you're talking about, and at transport level as well, some solutions are needed. Anumita, one last question before I let you go. The vehicular emissions contribute the highest. That is something we all agree on. And as far as Delhi's PM 2.5 share is concerned, it's about 50 to 53 odd percent. It remains around a high level. Now, there is a data that has been submitted by the center, which has the air quality index of some top cities in the country. Delhi, for example, out of 365 days, Anumita, and I want you to pay attention to the data here that I'm talking about. Out of 365 days in 2020, according to center, 139 days in Delhi were either poor, very poor, or severe. That was the kind of air quality. In Bengaluru, there was no such day. I mean, not even for a single day, we had air quality in either poor, very poor, or severe category. Mumbai, 20 days. Then Chennai, no, not even a single day. And then Hyderabad, also not even a single day when we saw in 2020 when the air quality was either poor, very poor or severe. Now, if vehicular pollution is a big issue, then why is it that in other cities, the situation is not as bad as it is in Delhi?
So what we need to understand here, first of all, that why is it that we have such high pollution level in northern India? Now, one of the reasons it is just not about vehicular pollution. Northern India being landlocked, it doesn't have natural efficient ventilation systems. So as a result, especially during winter, when there is an inversion condition, the air gets trapped, and along with that, whatever pollution that is taking place in the region also gets trapped, and that's why you see such high concentration of pollution in northern India. But in West, Mumbai, Chennai, those areas where you have sea and the openness and not better ventilation, natural ventilation, so that allows the dispersal to be more efficient. Now, what we need to keep in mind that within this matrix, the relative contribution of different sources vary from city to city. And in Delhi, because today the vehicles are contributing so much in Delhi also because action has been taken to shut down all coal power plants. The major industries are already on natural gas. So action in other sectors, the relative action has now led to has made vehicles a bigger contributor. But just keep one point in mind about this, that when we say that the Chennai or Bangalore or Mumbai are cleaner than Delhi, but when you look at what WHO is saying, that what is safe air, then even Chennai, Mumbai also does not have safe air. And today, already the state-level global burden of disease estimates that have been done for India show that almost equal number of people die per 100,000 population in Delhi, Bihar, in Chennai, in Kerala. The death numbers do not vary much because the maximum health effect actually occurs at a level of pollution which is much lower than Delhi. And that means that no one in India, wherever they are, should feel that they are actually more safe than others in northern India. That's the reason why today we need the National Clean Air Program to be equally stringent, just not in Delhi NCR, but across all regions. In fact, just today, we were looked at even the data for northeastern cities like Kohima, Guwahati, and it will be amazing that sometime that their air quality can get as bad as Delhi during winter particularly. Now, that's the crisis of air pollution that we are talking about in this country today. And that is why we need the political understanding and the public understanding that air pollution is a widespread crisis. Just don't go by what is visible only during winter in Delhi and NCR. The invisible pollution is a big killer across the country today.
In fact, I picked up that word invisible killer from an article from CSE only, Anumita, and that's why I started saying that it's an invisible killer. It is not going to see whether you're a child, adult, male, female, or whoever you are. It might just target you, and hence we need to be prepared. I appreciate all my guests. Thank you very much. I appreciate all my guests for joining us here on Urban Debate this evening, and we really hope that your knowledgeable minds and sane voices are heard by the government and, of course, by the public as well. Heading into a short break. Don't go anywhere. An exclusive interview coming up for you on the other side.